Welcome everybody. Happy Monday. I'm just going to turn this up. I'm a few minutes late because I was literally just over on my Instagram page letting people know. And yeah, I want to thank anybody that manages to make this live, because I know it's obviously a Monday afternoon and everybody has their own commitments and everything, but thank you for taking the time. So what I'd like you to do is actually just pop some comments in the comment field and just let me know where you're joining from. So I'm based in the UK, and I'd love to see where people are coming in from. And today's topic is going to be about burnout. And I want to give a different perspective on burnout, what is going on, why this is actually an invitation to really catalyze the old patriarchal programs around self-sacrifice, around martyrdom, and really what it's meant to be as living as a woman at this time. And I'm going to bring in some different dimensional levels to this. So as soon as you join, or if you catch me later, pop an emoji, say hello, connect. The more you're connecting in with this field, the more you're actually going to get out of this. And in today's session, I'm actually going to be doing a transmission. So for those of you that engage, obviously, as you come into this space, you are entering what's called an energetic classroom. So I've created a morphogenic architecture field, meaning that as you come in, you give permission. So what I do with my clients is I'm teaching them the awareness of what they are unconsciously saying yes to, what they are engaging in energetically. And as you come into this space, you are energetically connecting with the field that I've created. So the reason I'm sharing this is that we often have no understanding of energetic boundaries because nobody has taught us. And this is not a shaming exercise. This is not I missed out on that day at school. This is a consciousness shift. This is an awareness. This is a evolution in our operating system. This is updating the technology, shall we say, or how to use it. So when we're looking at burnout, let's have a little look at what's going on there. When we're getting burnt out, we will often, if we're operating from one level of consciousness, we will blame our outer reality. It's not truth. We will blame our outer reality. There is too much to do. There is not enough time. When we understand that time is actually just a construct that is 3D, but is not all of you, and actually energetically we can manipulate time, we can bend time. And for those that have trained in hypnosis, that is, time distortion is actually something that we play with. We are just working with different levels of consciousness. So when we're looking at burnout, often we have actually just ignored ourselves. In truth, we've ignored connecting to the body, meaning we're often numb. So one of the key things that I work with clients on is looking at hungry, angry, lonely, tired. When any of those basic needs come up, you need to be addressing them. And that is going to mean changing routines, setting boundaries, and starting to say no. And as women and as girls, by the age of 7, we learn that essentially we don't make eye contact because it's going to be confrontational. We learn not to be our full world expressive self. We often get told not to be as kind of energetically out there, wild, playful, because it's too much. So we learn very, very early on through schooling, through conditioning, through education, through our family, to constrict our energy field, often also holding a lot of the emotions that we were not really supported in expressing and moving, and it gets stuck in the body. And it feels very uncomfortable to connect in with trapped emotions because we haven't really been given the toolkit of how to alchemize, how that is an energetic flow that did actually need to be moving. And that your emotions are not your intuition. Your emotions are actually not even a defining factor to say that something is truly, bad or dangerous. It is literally just something that is to be observed and moved through you. And actually, from a chemical point of view, I think Harvard have actually, there's a a psychologist in Harvard who's been able to track, it's like a 90-second process. If we can breathe with it, if we can work with it, if we can actually, rather than allow ourselves to sort of react and respond, you know, in a way that is trying to almost escape it, we allow that energy to start to process. So if we're at a stage where we have no level of awareness of inner work, burnout is going to guide you there, because there is no way out of it, it's through it. And the way that we start to work with that is by reconnecting ourselves with the parts of ourselves that we have disconnected from. And in doing so, we expand into more of who we are. Meaning, when we're disconnected from our body, we're disconnected from our heart. Our heart is the most powerful electromagnetic field we have. It's also something that we are beginning to go through a heart awakening at this time globally. That's why there's so much stuff coming to the surface. So understanding that the heart is actually more powerful than the mind to manifest with as well. Recognizing your sensitivity, you might describe yourself as highly sensitive or an empath. You're going to be feeling that in the heart. And then your mind's going to be making stories, and you might be feeling overwhelmed by that. So you close and contract your energy field out of protection, because you think that these extra things you're sensing into is something that's out there to attack you. Or you feel, I have to close in on myself because that's the safer way to be. And notice it's a tension. It's a locked energy. So when we begin to understand that that affects our sexual energy, and our libido reflects appetite of life. So if you can imagine, sexual energy is not just there for children, you know, having children, it's about your creative life force energy. There is nothing energetically more powerful on this earth than your sexual energy. And the ancients understood this. If you want to control someone, you control their DNA, you control their blood, and you control their sexual energy. So when we're holding lots of shame and we're holding lots of disconnection from our own bodies, in about being able to move, express, needing to take moments to come inwards, to be able to dance between both our inner and masculine and feminine energies, which nobody has told us. We've just gone into a system that forces us to ignore all of our basic needs, ignore our own energetic architecture, ignore our menstrual cycles. Women naturally are in cycles, and they've also discovered men have hormonal cycles as well. Men even have a male menopause. So we're beginning to learn lots of new things, and science is catching up on that. So if we are cyclical beings, but we have been conditioned through our workplaces, through society, to literally be on push forward, never stop, go, 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 we are intrinsically ignoring all of the sensory awareness, whether it's energetic, whether it's what the body consciousness is telling us, whether it's also what the pelvic, the womb, the yoni, the female reproductive organs are telling us, because we have so much when we go into the feminine awakening and really embodying those parts of ourselves. We know straight away if something's a juicy yes. We know if something's a turn on, it feels expansive and exciting, and a yes, and we get excited about it. And it also, then we can then open our heart at the same time. So things start to magnetize to us. That doesn't happen when we're all closed up, which is why often at the moment with people trying to manifest, they're manifesting through the head. They're manifesting through the mind, the mental body, because they haven't connected and cleared up the pieces of what is happening in the body. And that isn't a 1 hour session and you're done. That's a journey to really start to build the intuitive connection, not in the necessarily just the body consciousness as a whole, because I want you to consider each organ has a voice. Each part of your being has a consciousness that will answer you. And when we're talking about alignment, we're actually talking about you bringing into alignment with all parts of yourself. So that means rediscovering those parts of yourself. That means questioning, not just accepting why suddenly you have a lack of sex drive, why, you will not, go and let yourself have lunch breaks, or why you won't look after your body. What excuses are going on there? Where are you rejecting yourself? And it's very interesting, because I've worked with a lot of people that have done a lot of inner work. But the blind spot is often that they will abuse and neglect themselves, their body, their energy field, over and above doing something that they think holds a higher value. But health is wealth. And ultimately, if your body is unhealthy and your energy field is overwhelmed with other people's energy and you're contracted, if you don't see to those bits first, you cannot out-journal it. You can't try and shift your mindset. You cannot try and use whatever, tapping to raise your frequency, because literally your energy field is contracted. Your channels will be closed. And remember, what we're looking at here is the more that you are connected to your soul, that is light. That is connecting through the heart, the seat of the soul. The more that you are connected to source, the more ideas, inspiration, and in flow you will feel. The key to tapping into intuition is about open expansiveness, and the flow comes through following things that feel good, joyful. And the system will show you that. You'll start to be able to be led by the subtle desires, not desires in the dogma format that has been shamed through religion, that you're not meant to have desires. I mean, that's quite a, what's the word for it? Convenient inversion, shall we say? Because if people are disconnected from the sexual energy, people are disconnected from trusting their intuition, people are disconnected from being able to listen to how their body feels and being able to connect to, their own source wisdom, they're going to always follow. They're easily programmable. So we've got to remember, we are unraveling so much unconscious programming that you will have taken on through many lifetimes and accepted it as just the norm. It's not the norm. It's not the only way. So part of the awakening process that goes on when you go from burnout to breakthrough is a reclamation of yourself, a reclamation of your body, a reclamation of the feminine, because we've been told to shut that part of ourselves down or emulate a distorted viewpoint of the feminine, which is really following an outdated template. And we see that through media, which makes us disconnect from ourselves even more. So when we realize that actually burnout brings us the gift of realignment, the gift of reassessing everything, the gift of changing every area of your life, it does not need to be that you wait until the big boot of the universe, which is what generally I'm seeing happening, which is people having things stripped from them. When we are desperately out of connection with our soul, your soul will intervene. It will create certain, this is not something happening to you. It is your soul intervening with something so that you are either taken out of a situation or you are made to stop. Because the only way that they can stop the momentum of the wrong path that you're on is to create something, a crisis. And that crisis allows you to reevaluate, to shift the energies, to look at, actually, I was thinking that my value was outside of myself. I was following somebody else's vision. I was so disconnected from myself, so far seeking answers outside of myself, so far, trying to get fulfillment out of things that were not joyful for me, because I'm told that I should find those things fun and exciting and joyful, that I lost myself. How many people have got to that point at this time that they feel that they've lost themselves? I had a conversation with a client last week, and he was talking about how certain things in his life had not been able to manifest. They never grounded. They always seem to not come to fruition. And he was like, "Oh, I thought I'm just going to go over and work in another country. That would solve it." And I said to him, it wouldn't, because everything that is a block in the UK is going to be a block in that other country, because you have pieces that you need to elevate past, alchemize, overcome, transform. If you take them over there, you just align with another variety of people to come in and experience the same thing in a different country. We can't escape ourselves. And because we've not been given this kind of toolkit, we're operating often through the linear, the reality that's here at this moment. We think that by moving location or moving jobs or changing partners, that somehow that will be the solution. The solution is the inner alchemy. The solution is to understand the frequency that you were holding that attracted these things in. The part of you that was ignoring the red flags, the part of you that has avoided using your voice. Big piece for feminine awakening. The voice, your throat chakra, is connected to the cervix. When we are in alignment, we are operating as this clear channel. The feminine is able to intuit and bring down wisdom. She feels it in her body. But that doesn't happen when we're pushing and we're busy and we're go, go, go. When we are literally giving of ourselves, so we have nothing left. You're numb on many levels. But the irony is we might be looking at our lives and think, well, you know, I've got the good job and, you know, I've got the house and I get to go on holidays and I do X, Y, Z. We have completely desensitized from all levels of being to create an outer facade that still doesn't bring the joy. And many people are also looking at money as something that I need to do, force, move more for. But actually, the frequency they're wanting to encode with might be freedom. When I earn this much, then I can have X, Y, Z. So it's not even the money, it's the experience at the end of it. It's the frequency that they are wanting to hold. But when we understand energetics, that has to be felt in the now to be an energetic alignment to that experience. And when we start to play like that, which on the logical mind, you're not going to be able to shift any of that stuff without coming into the body, without doing the energetics, without getting the soul on board. Because if it's not in alignment for you to be experiencing something at a soul level, you again will be blocked. And I talked about this in an earlier Ask Allera about manifestation. There are multiple layers of things that you are working with manifesting an experience. And burnout will make you realign your life. Burnout will invite you to go deeper into the patterns that you have been coming up against. And I'll be really honest with you, everybody, and we will go through something in a minute, everybody has something energetically that is out of alignment and is not belonging to them, that will be interfering with maybe your thought processes, how you feel, all sorts of stuff, because we are energetic beings and we are influenced by other things that we might not be able to see with our physical eyes, meaning that your frequency and set point is like a dialing channel for a radio of what you attract into your experience energetically. You can't avoid it. These are like universal laws and principles. So we can't fake it. We have to be aware of it. And when we're looking at burnout, we are often in very dark cycles of negative thought processes. When we are in a very low frequency, feeling anxious or depressed, we are going to be attracting in like for like consciousness, beings, spirits that will attach to the energy field, meaning that they hold a similar conversation, a similar dialogue. You can only attract to you what you are vibrating at. So if you're feeling very, very low and very like a victim, it's this victim frequency and it calls in. And if we're feeling burnt out, we feel like, you know, what's the point? We call it in and we might not be able to see it, but ultimately it attached to us. A consciousness like an earthbound spirit that has not gone to the light will need energy source. Lower frequencies like demonics and lower frequency entities are real, and they feed off our lower frequencies. So knowing that we are operating in multi-levels of being, when you are stuck in a funk and you decide to sit in your emotional basement and not get the support and not change anything, you will find that there is always an energetic influence that is holding somebody in that place. It's always the case for addictions. And these beings, you might think they're your thoughts because they are literally on your energy field or even in your body, depending on what's been going on. If there is addictions, then they could be in your body. So when we're looking at burnout, this is such a burnout to breakthrough to understanding yourself on a multidimensional level. in the now moment. This isn't something like you go off to the jungle and experience. These are day-to-day things that we need to be conscious of, because we are also being entrained by our environment. Law of entrainment means that whatever the dominant frequency is around us, we entrain to. So if you're around lots of positive, uplifting people that are actually in alignment, not just faking it, you will start to entrain to that dominant frequency. The same way, if there's a lot of fear, scarcity, everyone's burnt out and depressed, and that is a frequency as well. So if you're in that environment, that's why when you come away from it, you will feel very drained, because sometimes unconsciously other people, because they haven't connected to their own source, their way of communicating, getting energy is to gossip and moan and complain and all the rest of it. So they generate energy through that because other people join in. So be careful who you surround yourself with. It might also be that, you know, there's a lot of martyrdom in maybe the group you're in at work. So, you know, nobody goes to the gym. It's seen as a badge of honor because I've worked here extra and I don't take breaks. And really, what's going on frequency-wise there? Martyrdom. When there's martyrdom, you are always coming from lack. You're always coming from scarcity. Remember that all of those frequencies are literally old paradigm that we're moving out of. Because the truth is, your core frequency is tapped into the infinite field of abundance, like quantum and above, basically. It's like infinite. You being able to reset, clear your energy field of what I've just talked about, some of these lower things, energy of others that you've decided to take on. Lots of people do this. Empaths all the time. People without good boundaries all the time. People that had attachment wounding. If you had experiences where there was not enough love, not enough whatever it was you needed from your caregiver, you will often merge your field with other people. And then you end up picking up their stuff. This is part of the journey. It's going deeper than the stuff that's in the psychotherapy clinical, because it's looking at these events happened. This is how somebody orchestrated their energy field. This is now causing them to essentially take on stuff that isn't theirs. This is, a need to be needed, like a psychic codependency. How do we overcome these things? Conscious awareness, a desire for a different way, has to be first. An awareness that you are so powerful at this time and you orchestrated to be here at this time. You also incarnated into certain families because you were here to break the patterns of operation where they were operating in codependency, in, self-sacrifice, in martyrdom. To be a mother meant, you didn't have a life and you gave everything away and, but you had a good old moan about it. You made everybody aware of what you'd given up for them. That's not joy. That's not love. So when we come in and we learn these things that are not love, we learn the subtle ways to try and make our needs met. And we often manifest workplace environments, businesses, clients that will often hold a similar echo. So we end up creating it unconsciously around us. And then it gets to a point where we can't continue in that way anymore. We're burnt out. And often when we're so in it, we cannot see any other alternative way because our frequency is too low. We're just trying to survive. We might be operating in fight or flight. We might also be quite disassociated out of the body because the body feels pretty funky when we're in that kind of frequency. The only way that we're going to start to evolve out of this thing is knowing that we ask for support, but know that we need to look at energy as well. Why? Because with what we're going to do in a minute, the energy clearing will actually create a new stabilized set point, giving somebody a glimpse of hope. I can feel better. I can reset myself really quickly. I have the power to take myself out of any emotional state. I get to choose the thoughts that I have. Yeah, thought mastery, super important. It's going to be something we're all evolving into, and it affects our emotions. It affects every cell of our body, listens to the thoughts, the way we talk to ourselves. We start to then have more expansion, we're going to have to look at our routine. You know, it's not just about getting 8 hours sleep. If the way that you are working blocks you creatively, it's blocking your connection to source. And we know as well, this happens a lot and is happening a lot for a lot of entrepreneurs out there. It's almost like someone's pulled the plug. The excitement, the passion, the mojo is gone, and they don't know why. That will happen when you are literally reaching into the next level. So it means that on some level, there is something more expanded to be birthed through you. There is something more expanded that your soul wants you to experience. There is something perhaps with your soul purpose vehicle. So your business is your soul purpose vehicle. It's the opportunity to birth through something that you get to then execute in physical. When that changes, when you're being asked to expand, maybe you've gone through lots of changes and shifts, but you haven't updated it in your business. You will often feel stuck, like you're burnt out, and everything, every angle you go into, it just doesn't work. And you try another strategy, you try another coach, you try another option. But I would say, first off, reset the energetics. Always go back to reset the energetics first, then see how things start to move. Then we're looking at, okay, let's look at mindset. Let's look at what's the highest timeline. Let's pull up the options in the field. Let's look at the expansion that's available, which you can't see when you're holding on to a load of stuff. And yes, some of that stuff is going to be unconscious stuff that you need to work with someone on. And I'm seeing a lot of stuff about people shifting beliefs. A belief is often formed, and there is a miasm, there is an imprint, there is sometimes an entity connected. There is also multiple timelines. When you're working in this way at soul level, it is deeper than just trying to change a belief, which is often why it doesn't work. We also have beliefs at multiple levels, not just a consciousness level from this lifetime. We bring in beliefs that are at soul level from other lifetimes. We hold beliefs that are brought in from our ancestors, encoded genetically. So that means that we have to start working at a deeper level to alchemize the unconscious, programming that we're holding that is manifesting out of into our reality, because it's as within, so without. So this is where we start looking at, why am I living my life in this way? And whose beliefs are they? Whose rules are they? Where did this come in from? What does it mean to completely radically change my financial set point? What does it radically mean to break the generational mold of poverty? All of these things are going to come up within the field, within the body, and it will be very unconscious. It was almost like things won't move. When we shift the energetics, because that's where the bleed is from, you'll be able to start seeing the new pathway and things start to flow. Flow is a natural set point, but we often don't trust that. We often also, if we're so used to fight or flight and hustle and go, 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 we also won't feel very comfortable when there is calm. And I call it the pregnant pause, because when you're working in cycles with the energy, meaning that you are not constantly in the birth process, you're not constantly in that kind of launch mode, there is an element of, okay, I need to integrate a change. I need to have a pause to integrate and calibrate and make those shifts within me. Then I'll know that there is a movement forwards where I start the momentum, the universe is then matching me, and I start to see flow. When we do that consistently, it will mean we can take more steps back, but the momentum is still moving. So it means that this is why you might have heard people say, do less, be more, manifest quicker. So it's essentially saying that those pause moments, the reset, is just as powerful as when you are moving forwards. And it's not feminine energy or masculine energy. It's the dance between both in all areas of your expression in your life. Everything, even emotions, are cycles. We are cyclical. Energy is cyclical. So when we begin to play with that, and perhaps if you're a business owner, this means that, if you have people that are neurodiverse within your organization, this will be very, very applicable to them, because burnout is key, something that many with neurodiversity, which I also feel that those people also have very similar needs as those that are empathetic, highly sensitive, psychic, whatever. It's the diversity that we are moving into as a consciousness. We are not going to be able to operate in the same way. We're going to need to have a pause moment. We're going to need to, reset before jumping into the next project or running off to the next thing. And that's going to mean a change in the system, a change in the culture, a change in the workforce. It doesn't mean that people will be, their production will be less. There will be an adjustment, a lot of guilt and shame. And, my value was seen by being the one that stayed the latest. All the bullshit will come up because people have identified with a level of illusion and thought that was themselves. That will need to shift. But when we come into that harmony, back to the harmony of our inner nature of how we operate, we will find it a lot easier to go through life event changes, evolve, that side of things. But it also means that we will start to have a more subtle connection to what is happening. And that's where we start to really, this kind of work is the quickest way to open up your intuitive channels. You can't just do that in your head. And also, we've abused our psychic gifts in the past and our healing abilities. So the reason most people are shut off is not just from childhood experiences of, seeing things and getting scared, or saying things and people have a funny response to it. It's because we're holding karma around when we opened up our sensory abilities in the past. We need to, through soul evolution, have an awareness of who we've been and what we've been, and reclaim the actualized gifts through clearing the soul work, and then things will start to open. When we are trying to, and I'm seeing a lot of this at the moment, there's a key thing, a key interest in intuition. Of course there is. It is your leading edge tool, but recognize that you are working with the unseen. You are working with many different levels of consciousness that influence intuition. That is an initiation. And energy clearing and energy hygiene is the core fundamentals when I'm working with clients, when we are going through to help them expand and actualize and trust and really embody themselves as the channel, meaning they get information like I do. I don't need to sit there in deep meditation. I don't need to judge, and that's come through refinement. That's come through initiation. That's come through ensuring that my energy is pristine. It comes through knowing that how I can control the energy in a room. This is what business owners that I'm working with, and entrepreneurs and people in many different industries, they're wanting that, so that they can literally be in many different areas of society without being overwhelmed, without being pulled down to somebody else's level, without feeling like almost like derailed. Because that is kind of what happens, because we are working with collective energy fields just in day-to-day life. So that's why many have really been kind of wanting to do the hermit role, disappear off into the cave, because of course you're going to be able to connect to your inner self a lot easier when you have no one around you and you're fully disconnected and you're not near anything that could distract you. And that serves a purpose. Stepping out of the day-to-day routine really serves a purpose, but it's not long-term and integrated and embodied. It's how you run your day-to-day when you're navigating other people's moods and whatever else is happening. How can you come back to self? How can you use your sacred yes and no to essentially help direct the ship to what is the most expansive, the way that you can really be in alignment, knowing that joy is your default, feeling good in your body, having a libido is a sign that you are beginning to connect in with what really is the soul desire. What is the expansiveness? What am I telling myself I can't have? But whose belief is that anyway? And what are the actual limits that I'm up against? Are they energetic? Are they karmic? Are they ancestral? Is this a belief thing? We have to look wide. So this is why when we look at a holistic way, meaning all parts of being, it means that we will shift all areas of our life when we make these changes, because we're getting to a root. So I created something in 2020 4,500 people have done it. It's called the Overwhelmed to Empowered 4-Day Energy Upgrade. It has a video that gives you the conscious awareness, because you can't change anything unless you have some awareness of what you're actually trying to change. And then it has some very deep energetic clearings. It's also showing you how you are influencing your money flow, what's happening in your business, and how coming back into self will actually mean that things start to move again in your business or whatever outer soul purpose vehicle you have. So that could be a creative block around, maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a writer, whatever it might be, where there is a stop there. Also, trying to create from fear and chaos means that is probably like adding rocket fuel to the wrong path, and how to reset out of the dark night of the soul, which also recalibrates your nervous system back to equilibrium, takes you out of the collective morphogenic field of dark night of the soul, which means so many funky things about money is involved in that, around, end of the world, Armageddon programming. It is a consciousness belief system field that has actually been part of the narrative for how we evolve on our soul path. It is a belief system, and you as a powerful being and creator get to choose which belief system and consciousness fields that you plug into. Quantum physics understands morphogenic fields now. We recognize that there's law of entrainment. If you're plugged into a field that means, I have to give away all my worldly possessions, or, it's bad for me to have a connection to source, as well as having, an abundant experience with, luxury experiences or whatever else it is, your level of life experience is what you want, you are going to start to feel blocks because you're kind of coming up against something, but it will be unseen. This is where we start to get really conscious and play in the multidimensional realms, really. So in that program, there is a 6-minute reset. It was something I used to use when I was working in global investment banks. I would go off to the loo, do my 6-minute clearing before going into a pitch, before going into a client meeting. It meant it cleared my field of anybody else's energy, any other interference or anything else going on, so that I came back to self. I realized that I would commute, and I might have connected in with 200 people before I even got to the office. That affects the thought forms in your field, energy contraction. It's the opposite of holding more light, being expanded, being connected. When I feel that there is something contracted in my field or in my energy field, I will feel it in the heart, because I am sensing through the heart. The clairsentience is through the heart, actually. So when we are locked and closed, we will not be able to feel. And that feeling, energy does not lie, meaning you can go into a meeting, go on a date, speak with a client. You'll know if something's right or not, because your heart, that electromagnetic field, will tell you. It's very hard when it's blocked, very hard when it's full of other people's energy and whatever else has been going on in the day. Even if I was to go and do something like this, which obviously I'm working in a collective field, I cleared my energy. I set the space before doing this, because this is an energetic transmission. I took those principles into my day-to-day life so that I was not rocked by everything else that was going on a busy, fear-driven trading floor, and commuting, and at one point running my side hustle business at the time. So I know what it's like to dance on that tightrope of burnout. And this toolkit was literally what I created and what I've then shared with thousands of people, so that they can utilize these tools as a new way to reset, but then also start to do some of their deeper work. So they start to create in alignment with soul, not against it, and stopping this whole trying to create by projecting from the past, i.e., it didn't happen that way, therefore it's not possible anymore, or expecting the worst. All of that is programming. It's not actually the only truth. You get to reprogram this stuff and notice that your outer reality will shift, and how other people respond to you shifts straight away when you shift your energy. So that means that you are always in control of your thoughts, your responses. You're in control of your energetic set point. When we're starting to play with frequency, when your field is clear and when you've elevated, the next pieces would be around starting to look at activations, starting to look at taking a activation that holds your frequency at a higher set point so that you start to radiate abundance. Everything is energy. We are literally evolving into a much more fast-tracked, advanced technology time. And when I say technology, there is actually energy technology as well that's reverse engineered from Atlantean technology that is beginning to go out in the market. People are realizing, I'm finding it hard to manage my energy field. So there is technology that is running certain programs and frequencies. I would say gift yourself the initiation of learning how to manage your own energy field, and you will be the master of yourself, and you will never be dependent on, seeking information from a psychic that you don't even know whether they've done shadow work. You don't know who they've been in a past life. You don't actually know if they've taken off the certain overlays and stuff that we have as souls that block truth. We don't know what timelines they can tap into. Why not you start to hone your own inner oracle? Why don't you start to empower yourself to clear the field so that you can actually really get very clear on who you are and your gifts, and showing up in fully expressed, unapologetic self, which will mean often this burnout will be that instigator of those changes. It's a refinement back to self. It might feel that you're letting go of something, but you're letting go of distortion. You're letting go of illusion. You're letting go of other people's projections. You're letting go of an old identity that was not your highest truth. And that is freedom. Freedom to be all of you. And that will look and feel different. And that's the refinement that many are going through at this time. And it means viewing yourself in your beauty, in your wholeness, from the diamond brilliance. And that's what my diamond evolution of my programs is based on. A diamond brilliance is created through pressure. And that's what we're doing each time we're alchemizing lower frequencies. We are revealing more of our multidimensional faceted self. The brilliance of all of you gets to radiate with the light that you hold of your own soul. Every time you speak, it becomes a transmission of your soul. We can feel what it's like when we have a coherent person that we are interacting with, which is why when there's a lot of fear around AI and everything, you can pick up on what's going on in the energy field. You don't need to take information from something that's inorganic. This is where we're moving towards. This is the invitation. This is the exploration of self. This is you in relation to you. You might be motivated to go and do the deeper work because you have had, you're so stuck and you've had enough of everything that's here. But know that you have created and manifested where you've got to. Therefore, you have the capabilities and the abilities to be able to alchemize that and manifest something different for yourself. We get to choose, we get to change, we get to rebirth constantly. And you will constantly reach stages where it feels like a cap, an upper limit, but it's an expansion into a high level of self. It means alchemizing the unseen blocks and then realigning the ship. It's a soul evolution path that we're on at the moment. And it means dancing outside of the realms of the mainstream, the mindset only, the journaling. It's like to embody yourself energetically as this vibrant, multidimensional soul, regardless of where you've come from, what experience you've had in this lifetime. You are worthy just by being you now. So what I'm going to ask to do, so I brought quite a lot of stuff up in the field actually. So I'm going to invite you, as you have been in this field in your cosmic classroom, as I call it, I'm going to bring through a transmission. And as we know, light and sound and frequencies shifts the harmonics and things that are in the field. So I'm going to be bringing through likely codes, which will come in certain tonations from my voice, and they will shift the architecture and shift your energy field without you doing anything. So you give permission by being in this field, by saying yes. I will basically bring through what is needed, but I will give you a taster of also what's in the overwhelmed to empowered, because this would be something that you have the capabilities of doing yourself. I'm also being shown that some of you might not understand what it means to take on other people's energy. We're going to identify where that is now and release it from you. So you're going to see whose energy you're holding on to. So this is something that starts to get you connected into, well, the reason I might be feeling this certain way or very oppressed or whatever else is because you're holding somebody else's stuff. It's not yours. And you just haven't known that. And you've been making choices based on somebody else's limitation. We want to move away from that. This is about sovereignty. You reclaiming your field as sovereign, not available for other people's interference. It's about you and your true north. This is where the energy clearing comes in. So when we do this sweep, I'm going to be doing an activation as well that will connect you more grounded. So often what happens is people are not fully in the body. So I'm going to be doing some soul work for that. And you're not fully grounded. So we're going to do some pieces here. This gives you a little taster. Firstly, how you can shift things. And secondly, how quick it is. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is just close your eyes, place your feet flat on the ground. This is not to be done whilst driving, operating machinery. If you are doing any of those things, come back to this. There'll be a replay. And I want you just to close your eyes, back straight. And I want you just to come into the heart. Just focus your attention on the heart. And we're going to start to open the heart field. And as we do with every beat of your heart, there's an electromagnetic pulse coming out from the heart. And as that happens, we're going to start for that to then form your energy field, this huge globe of energy around you. Just imagining like almost an egg shape around you initially. And I want you now just to take 3 deep breaths. And as you do, firstly coming into the heart, beginning to create some spaciousness there. Second breath, we go into the stomach. Third breath, I want you to go fully into the pelvic area. I'm going to set in some very strong boundaries here. Whilst you're in this container, no other energy that does not belong to you has any influence over your energy field. You are giving permission for me to access the different record keepers and divine teams that I work with, which are multi-level councils of light, sisters of light, angels, guides, certain teams that can do this work for us. They are all benevolent, higher dimensional beings that can see the illusion for us and with higher frequency can then remove what we are unable to ourselves. So whilst we're in this space at this time, I'm going to speak to the different parts of your being, bringing forward the mind consciousness, the heart consciousness, the emotion consciousness, the brainstem, the nervous system, the diaphragm, and the body consciousness, bringing you all on board, knowing that this is happening collectively and cohesively. There is no need for the brain to override the opinions and the voices of the other parts of self. And through this initiation, we are now removing anywhere where you felt silenced. This is an initiation to start to connect into the body and the consciousness that is speaking and available at all times. Notice how you feel, knowing that your body is now being given a voice and a way to be able to connect with you more. Coming back into the heart, allow it to open, just gently. I'm going to be bringing in a code called the Hara code that's going to go into your heart. And as that happens, it will straight away create these 2 pillars of light. One will shoot all the way down your center point, down into the 2nd dimensional earth grids of the earth, the templates within the earth. And the other will shoot right the way up, creating an opening, going right the way up to your upper dimensional self through the soul star chakra and above. 1, 2, 3. Activating Hara now. I want you to imagine this pillar of light immediately created above, going right the way through, actualizing through the spine, out the top of your head, You might notice an opening, you might notice an expansion, and then pull your consciousness to the other pillar below you, going right the way down, 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 down through all the layers of the earth, activating the Earth Star Chakra. I'm asking the team to do a scan through, clear implant devices, overlays, and any distortion fields that are blocking this soul from being able to connect fully onto Earth. Bring this field right the way down, and we're going to lock, anchor, and seal you into the second dimensional Earth templates. We're going to bring up the coding from the central sun of the earth, and we're just going to actualize with the spark of gold into this root anchored right into the planetary grids, bringing up this spark, this gold spark, going in a clockwise direction rapidly, right the way up. As it comes into the base of your spine, it begins to come up through this channel of light, going in a clockwise direction. As it's doing this, it's actually activating each one of your chakras, bringing them into the correct size, direction, shape, and color. Now, clearing any interference programs and any overlays now. Bring into the correct size, direction, shape. And also work on any interference programs, patterns, and including removing the energy of your mother's connection into the causal chakra and template at the back of the head, anywhere where the influence over what it means to be a woman, a mother, and any control influences that are way past the evolution of this soul now. I'm asking now for the disconnect and rescind and revoke the agreements made consciously or unconsciously to allow that connection to occur. And in doing so, I now ask for violet flame to be activated through the entirety in a spiral, clockwise spiral through the entirety of your energy field, just clearing away all of this old energy, which was just blocking your channel of light, connecting you more to your soul, to source, connecting the direct connection energetically as above and so below, activating your hara line, locking you into the interdimensional parts of your being through all layers of consciousness. Just allow that clearing to occur. I'm asking for the violet flame to now reverse out and vacuum through a vortex in the earth now. Take a big deep breath, and I want you just to notice if there's any shifts and changes in your body, just as you now have access to more of your light, more of who you are. And we're now going to ask that your body and energy field starts to show you through sensation, through knowing, whose energy are you holding on to in your solar plexus or in the intestine area, in the gut area. You will have a knowing. You might hear someone's voice. We're asking that any overlays or any light power imaging or any kind of deception devices, tools, overlays, or magic that's being used to hide any entity, energy, being, soul, or fragment, or influence, or thought form now are going to be dissolved and deleted, nullified, cleared out now, so that you can get to see whose energy is it that's influencing you at this time. You might see a flash of someone's face. I'm also going to ask for the consciousness that is playing as the inner critic to now reveal yourself. Because what we need to understand is that the inner critic is not what it seems. Notice which one of your parents does the inner critic reveal itself as. That voice is a consciousness that does not belong to your soul. It is not who you are. It is the projections, the energy that you hold within your energy field that has created its own energetic resonance, meaning it's animated, it's become form. By witnessing and understanding this, we can ask for the teams to remove these influences. So as you begin to scan through, I want you to now look in your heart. Whose face do you see in the heart field that is blocking you from truly being able to express who you are and open up your field to greater levels of love, abundance, wealth, prosperity, and pleasure? Now, this might be a partner, this could be a family member, it really doesn't matter. They have no influence over you. I'm going to ask you to get involved in what we're doing, and this can happen at any time. You can do this yourself. We're going to ask that consciousness, and we're going to do this one together, and I will clear the rest of them for you. So the one in the heart, I'm going to ask that it changes color. So we're going to ask for it to change into a particular color and then a shape. So you're going to identify, it might present itself as a square or a red square. We're going to bring that consciousness out of your field on all levels of being. We're rescinding, invoking any contracts, vows, oaths, agreements, spells, pacts, covenants. We're asking for a rescind and clearance of any karmic entanglement, entrapment, anywhere where there is an energetic divorce that is required from that individual. To facilitate this, I'm asking the teams to go ahead and do that now. Sending back their energy wherever it came from and calling back yours with interest, cleansed, purified, healed, and upgraded. So now we've freed your energy from that person. I want you to imagine that you, with your hand, can just go to the heart, and whether it's a cube, a circle, whatever else it's presented itself in, you get to extract with your intention. You pull it out of your field. And as you do, I want you to place that in front of you. I'm going to actualize a flame, violet flame, magenta flame of alchemy. And I'm going to bring in the teams that will be able to transform that and upgrade it and clear it out of any of your Akashic records, your soul records, where you are attracting in betrayal, heartbreak, sadness, or where somebody had a soulmate contract with you and you have not rescinded it. Unrequited love, keeping your heart closed, wishing for the past because you held on to this energy that does not belong to you. And I'm asking now for a code to be brought through to cleanse your heart. And I'm being asked to bring through the heart diamond consciousness, which I'm going to place in your heart now, allowing your heart to be able to take on a new harmonic and frequency, to illuminate, to be safe to be in your body, to know what it is like to be radiant in your true form. And whilst that flame is still moving, we're going to ask within your field to bring up all of the other energy that you are holding that does not belong to you. We do not need the stories. We do not need to know who it is. And I'm asking for Metatron's cube to be given as the extraction cube in my hand now. I'm asking now for each parts of these to be illuminated, brought into the color red, into a pyramid format. And I'm going to send in the extraction cube now. This will locate all of this consciousness that does not belong to you in your field, and will start to rapidly grab it, transmute it, compress it, fractalize it, and throw it onto the flames now. I'm asking now for the Skull Conclave to come in. They will access through your third eye and start to scan through the entirety of your morphic field. Anywhere there's any codes or discordant codes, including around the divine feminine, what it is to be a woman, how to be in your body, your sensuality, remove out any distorted sexuality coding, including from Egypt now. Remove any taints, shadows, tars, and any distortion now. Anywhere where the energy field, in particular around the feminine organs, is being blocked due to any of this distortion, now clear out. Notice that there might be an expansion, meaning there's pressure that's been in your body or tension that's been in your body, and it's just dissipating. It's beginning to go, in particular around the head and the crown chakra area, where there were energies that were attempting to block your connection to source, connection to self, connection to your body having free-flowing energy. I'm asking that the extraction cube now get brought out, placed in the flames, actualize, clear, transmute the flames now, dissipating everything. No further influence or access to your energy field. I'm asking that the teams begin to look at your golden web for any tears and rips, and start to bring in the psychic surgeons who will be able to seal and strengthen. Bring in also bring up the field for all of the multidimensional levels of shielding. And I'm asking Archangel Metatron to bring forth the upgraded sacred geometry shapes, sizes, colors, frequencies to be placed within each one of these shields so that they are protected whilst this transformational process occurs. We're going to now flood through the platinum frequencies right the way through you. Imagine the entirety of your field being encased in this platinum frequency, the highest frequency of light, of ray, transmuting all discordant energy, allowing you to expand your energy field out boldly, safely, vibrantly, beginning to bring back now all parts of your soul consciousness, where you've given it away or where it's been taken, cleansed, purified, healed, and upgraded, brought into the higher heart, into the seat of the soul, and into every cell, atom, molecule of your body now, bringing your energy back. I'm also asking that you bring up the Akashic records, and I'm asking for a repatterning of any of the archetype templates this soul is orchestrating their life through, which is martyr, which is victim, which is anything to do with slavery and servitude. Rescind and revoke all of this now, do a repatterning, bring in the upgraded divine feminine coding, and start to weave this in with their energetic matrix now. Bring in the frequencies of abundance, opening up all abundance channels within their being, remembering who they are, remembering their connection to source and soul, remembering that they can connect to this light, to this ability to relax, to be open, to receive, activating the magnetism within the feminine base code now, so that they start to become a magnet for the desires. When they listen to themselves, they start to be able to connect deeper into all parts of being, so that that creates the magnetic charge that starts to then pull the realities to them. Bring in the energies of safety, of knowing, of remembering who they are, and knowing that they can come back to this state at any moment. And in doing so, just by doing this work, we're asking for a collapse and closeout of any lower timelines, ones where they were creating from distortion or other entity energies, beings, or influences that were attempting to hold them back, keep them low, keep them in victim, keep them out of their power. Collapse, close out all of those timelines within the Akashic records now. Cleanse, purify, healed, multidimensional levels, any influences that still have any access points on any multidimensional level of being. And I'm now going to just ask that you bring your energy field in 50%, and just notice that you can hold this frequency, this connection, this awareness, this lightness, this feeling of expansive, this excitement, this positivity. You can hold this at any moment, and this is your attraction point. This is the connection to who you are. This is possible in minutes. Knowing that you are resourced when you come back to yourself. And I'm thanking all of the divine teams that have brought this transmission through. I'm just going to lock, anchor, and seal all of the changes in the Akashic record, all of the changes within multi-layers of your energy field, all of your changes, lock, anchor, seal within the heart, and start for the transmission of the diamond heart frequencies to start to anchor within their being going forward, starting to align them to the higher timelines of their potential, and starting to allow them to be curious, to see the beauty in life, to see the joy in life, to see the potential in life. And that as we speak at this time, their nervous system starts to understand that it is okay to relax. It is okay that positive things get to come to you, that often the diversions allow you to step into something more expansive, more loving, more joyful, and that this is your default, this is your set point, this is available to you at any moment. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done. And I want you just to wiggle your fingers and toes very gently, very, very gently, and begin to just take some big deep breaths and just move your shoulders. Begin to tap your fingers on your legs, bring your consciousness back into the body, all of your consciousness back here now, knowing that you're going to feel more yourself, calling back all that energy that wasn't yours and releasing stuff that just was influencing you in a negative way, knowing that you're safe, you're protected, your upgraded energy field will help you feel more grounded, more connected to the earth, and knowing your worthiness to be here. And I want you just to open your eyes, bring your consciousness back in the room now. So, if anyone wants to share any comments, then do. That's quite a powerful clearing. Anyone that's feeling overwhelmed, anybody that is feeling, stuck, that will clear out of your field so that you can start now. This is a now new moment for you. And this now new moment means that you can create this again and again and again. And coming back to that inner world and shifting the energetics, changes the trajectory. So be curious about what ideas come forth to you. Be curious if your body starts going, that's a no. If I'm feeling contraction, that's a no. Start to spend some time in meditation in the mornings and ask your heart, what do you need today? Ask your soul, what do you desire for today? And just start to ask those questions out loud. Speak out loud rather than in your head. Your body will start to communicate with you. Your soul will start to communicate with you. You will start to, now you've been connected in with new consciousness teams as well, they will start to work with you to help you align and stay in a higher set point. Because if we are vibrating more in alignment with our soul, we've got a higher vibration and we start to open up new opportunities for ourselves because we've become an energetic match to it. So if this has resonated with you and you want to do deeper work, I do one-to-one sessions as one-offs. I also have multiple different immersions, or people come and work with me for 3 to 6 months on the Diamond Evolution, which is my Diamond Brilliance program. That's where I will go and help you do the deeper alchemy work whilst holding you at the highest set point. And then we really start to align with upgraded strategy in your business or your life or whatever else is happening. I work in all areas of life because ultimately you change one thing and it affects something else. If you are feeling called to change career, you want the upgrade, the expansion, stuff's coming up for you, seek the help, the support, because you don't need to do it on your own. We're not designed to do it on our own. And when we are held at the highest set point, things move quickly. So know there is always multiple timelines available to you, regardless of where you are at this point. You get to choose. So sending you lots of love. And if you are interested in the Overwhelmed to Empowered 4-day energy upgrade, I will put the link in here. If you have somebody that you know, send them this video, send them the link, because this literally has saved lives. I had somebody reach out to me last week saying, you know, your meditations literally saved my life a few years ago, somebody who was struggling with alcohol addiction. So if there is somebody that is in a rut and they are open to trying something, all you can do is offer. But this will clear out any of the energetic influence that may be distorting how they're feeling and allow them to have that glimpse of being able to feel better quickly, which then allows us at a new set point to move forwards. So sending you lots of love. Thank you so much for joining, and recognize that this is not the end, it's the beginning of something new. And the feminine awakening is a reclamation for not just you, it's a reclamation that you come in and you heal your lineage. You get to have the choices that your feminine lineage didn't have. And we are reclaiming all of those parts of ourselves that we have not been able to or have not been safe to actually embody. So sending you lots of love. Take care. Bye-bye.